We are at the Hull House on the UIC campus. The Hull House became famous when Jane Addams opened the first settlement house in America here in 1889. But the house predates her coming here by a number of years. It was originally built in 1856. It is one of the oldest buildings in downtown Chicago that's still standing. It was built by a man named Charles Hull. This was his home and mansion. He was a wealthy real estate developer here in Chicago. But Charles Hull only lived in this house for 4 years, up till the year 1860, because in that time frame, his wife and his 2 sons die in this house. So it is one remaining daughter. The house no longer felt like home. So even though he owned the property until his death in 1889, he doesn't live here anymore. Him and his daughter go live in a mansion in another part of town. There were stories going back about this place being haunted long before Jane Addams moved into it, but in several of the books that Jane Addams wrote, even though Jane Addams said she didn't really believe in ghosts, she did nickname one of the bedrooms, which is the one right up here in the upper right-hand side as you're facing the mansion. She nicknamed that the haunted bedroom. It was initially her bedroom. But she couldn't stay in it very long. She claimed that in the middle of the night, she'd be awoken seeing a woman hovering over the bed. She'd also hear like conversations in there. So she stopped using it as her bedroom. She initially tries turning it into a guest room, but the guests would report the same things, especially seeing this woman standing over their bed at night. So eventually she closes the room off and just uses it for storage. She would hear stories that the previous tenants of the building would put buckets of water outside the door of that room, not really knowing initially why they did that, but later finding out that there was a belief in old-time spiritualism, old-time ghost hunting, that spirits cannot cross water, so that's why they left the buckets of water there. The courtyard over here, many people tend to believe that this courtyard is a portal area. They used to have a fountain in the center of the courtyard. You can kind of see still where it was. There's a circular area right there. That people claim to take pictures of that fountain, and it would show up in some people's pictures and not in others. A portal would be like a passageway for spirits that come in and out of the world. For whatever reason, this is run as a museum these days on the UIC campus. For whatever reason, about 10 years or so ago, the UIC people just pulled that fountain out, no explanation given. The other story that this building is connected to, if anybody's ever seen the movie Rosemary's Baby, about the devil baby.
What have you done to its eyes?
This is Chicago's version of the devil baby. In 1913, it starts very simply with stories that a baby, possibly a severely deformed baby, would have been left outside the doorstep of this building one day. Jane Addams takes the baby in, and what happened over about the next month period was a mass hysteria that went around not only the building itself, but the neighborhood, where people were coming at all hours of the day and night, willing to pay no matter how much money it cost to see this devil baby. Jane Addams claimed that she was turning people away left and right. She claimed that some of them would be pounding on the door at night, willing to pay no matter how much money it cost to see this thing, see this baby. And she was constantly telling them, no, we don't have the baby here. Now, she never actually says whether the baby existed or not. She does acknowledge the mass hysteria. She would tell these people, no, we don't care how much money you have. No, you cannot see the baby. She said that there used to be like carloads and busloads of people used to come from Milwaukee down here just to see this baby. Now, Jane Addams eventually kind of chalks up the whole mass hysteria about the devil baby to the fact that this was a very heavily immigrant neighborhood, and a lot of the women, especially the older women that were coming from the old country, would come with those old-time beliefs, like those old-time wives' tales. One of those wives' tales would have been how a baby got that severely deformed is it had to be the spawn of the devil. One of the stories, one of my favorite stories to tell, is that there was a devoutly Catholic woman in the neighborhood. She marries an atheist man. She puts a picture of the Virgin Mary up on her wall one day. The man comes home from work, so distraught seeing this picture on his wall, tears it up off the wall, tears it up, throws it up in the air and says, "I'd rather have the devil's baby than have that picture hanging up on my wall." And apparently 9 months later, he gets his wish, and out pops that devil baby. And they say when it comes out, it has like red, oily, scaly skin, hoof feet, horns on its head. Some stories say it comes out with a full head of hair, smoking a cigar. It's able to speak 3 different languages, and it's able to curse in all 3 of those languages. But these were the type of stories that were going around the neighborhood. So this building has a long-standing history of being haunted.